Hi, this is Rick. I wanted to do something a little different for a few episodes and talk about something that's near and dear to me and hopefully to some of you as well, which is the period of the Amazing Spider-Man books, which are between 252 when he gets the symbiote suit and 300 in which there's a Venom character. I guess maybe more specifically between 258 and 300 where he's wearing the black suit that the Black Cat sewed for him. And I thought it might be fun to review this period of time because it was a fun time in the books for me. And we got some interesting new characters. We got Puma. There was Secret Wars 2. There was Silver Sable came out. Foreigner. Peter in his private life had broken up with the Black Cat. Mary Jane was reintroduced. They started dating. He marries Mary Jane. There was Kraven's Last Hunt. There were a lot of neat stuff happened in this time, and it might be fun to do service to a few of the issues. I think I maybe specifically wanted to start with talking about issue 265, which was the first appearance of Silver Sable, and go over that character for her arc. So she was started in 265, but continues in 277, I think, and 279, I think. And during this period, Aunt May is mad at Peter for dropping out of graduate school. She's not talking to him. Mary Jane had just revealed that she knows he's Spider-Man for the first time. He just broke up with the Black Cat. Flash is doing some weird, shady stuff. We don't know who the Hobgoblin is. Flash has been accused of being the Hobgoblin. Betty was having problems with Ned Leeds, who was in Europe. Jonah gave up editorial control of the Daily Bugle to Robbie Robertson. There was just a lot of stuff going on, and it was a fun time in the book. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to review that through the eyes of the Silver Sable character first. So I wanted to review that, and I hope you enjoy it too. It's not my usual thing of pressing and cleaning comics, but I thought it might be fun. First, a little background for those who don't know the story in this time. So I'm going to go back a little bit just to set the stage. So we all know Gwen Stacy died in Amazing Spider-Man 121, but end of 122 we see Mary Jane mature for the first time and console Peter after Gwen's death. The first time we see her as being sort of soft and not party-like in any way at all. She falls in love with Peter Parker. Later in, just before he goes on a plane to Europe, they kiss for the first time in Amazing Spider-Man 143. Peter then proposes 40 issues later in Amazing Spider-Man 182. She declines his proposal in 183, saying she doesn't want to be pinned down. Of course, breaks Peter's heart. They officially break up in Amazing Spider-Man 193, one issue before the Black Cat's first appearance. Then Mary Jane returns in Amazing Spider-Man 242. So we didn't see her from, I think it was like March of 1979 to August of 1983. So it's 4 years, there's no Mary Jane, or very little Mary Jane, just a few phone calls in the Spider-Man comic books. So she returned to New York from Florida in 242, and then she reveals that she's known Peter Spider-Man the whole time in 257, which is just about the time that he is learning his suit as a symbiote, which is exciting times. And in 258, Reed Richards takes the suit off of Peter with a sonic blast and then captures it, and that's the first appearance of the bombastic Bagman as well. So this time, Felicia Hardy, he started, Black Cat's first appearance was 195. Then she appears in Spectacular Spider-Man primarily. She gets powers in 89 of Spectacular Spider-Man from the Kingpin to become some bad luck powers because she doesn't want to hold Peter down or put him in danger. Doesn't tell Peter about it. He finds out in 99, and they break up in 100. She also in 100 sews him a regular cloth suit because Felicia Hardy, can't stand to look at him without his suit at all, and just only likes Spider-Man, and she likes the black suit a lot better. He has this cloth suit. So during this time in the late 250s, 260s, 270s, he's going back and forth between the red and black suit, which was really a lot of fun for us who didn't know there was a Venom coming, those of us who kind of liked both suits. kind of didn't know what was going to happen with the symbiote, didn't know who the hobgoblin was, didn't know what was going to happen with Peter and Mary Jane. Incidentally, they get married in Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21, I think. Later, with great John Romita Sr. cover. So also, Peter drops out of graduate school in issue 243, and Aunt May finds about it in issue 253, the one after the first appearance of the black suit. It's mistakenly credited to 252 in some issues, but it's 253. And they're not talking to each other at this time. So, context of the issue we're going to review today is the first appearance of Silver Sable. In this one, Mary Jane and Peter are not dating, but he knows that she knows about him being Spider-Man. He's not dating Black Cat, not talking to Aunt May. Jonah has just given up editorial leadership of the Daily Bugle to Robbie Robertson. Betty and Ned Leeds are having problems. We don't know who the hobgoblin is. We don't know what's going to happen with the black suit. And that's the context and the background for this story. So Amazing Spider-Man 265 begins with some Black Cat vibes, because we note that just 3 issues previous in Peter Parker 100, because this came out the same month as Peter Parker 103, that Peter and Felicia had broken up. And it begins with an elderly cat burglar. This time his name is the Black Fox, not Cat. He tries to fence some jewels, but he gets interrupted by the police, and he escapes. We kind of feel sorry for him. It anchors us to his idea that he wants to just retire and get out of the business. We feel a little bit bad for him. So meanwhile, at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, Peter Parker is introduced to Harry and Liz's newborn son, Normie. They're soon joined by Mary Jane Watson, who finds this baby adorable, to everyone's surprise. By this time, Peter tells them that he has to go to the Daily Bugle, get some money, and he leaves, as he always does. As he leaves, Peter's happy for Liz and Harry, but he is really uncomfortable in Mary Jane's presence. She had recently revealed that she knows his secret identity, which isn't good for him. And that was in Amazing Spider-Man 257, and she also called him Tiger, which made him feel a little bit funny inside. Also, a little bit more background. Aunt May isn't talking to him. And as per usual, Peter needs some money, so he does some web slinging with his non-digital old-fashioned film camera, looking for some crime photos to sell to the Daily Bugle. Naturally, he happens across a Black Fox, which appears as though he's a helpless old man being attacked by some costume hoodlums. Then the police sort of chastise Spider-Man, saying that he helped a bad guy get away, which is, no for Peter. And they say, "You miserable webhead, what have you done?" And they get mad at him, and he's like, "What?" And so then a couple of the guys go back to the hoodlums trying to catch him, go back and tell their boss at the Simcarian embassy that they've interrupted by Spider-Man. We're introduced to Silver Sable sort of in shadow for the first time. And I really like the art here. The art is by Ron Frenz, and he has a lot of economical storytelling. He doesn't put a lot of detail in places, leaving things sort of blank and darked out, which I'm sure saved him a lot of time in drawing, but it's still it's very impactful. And Silver Sable starts off in shadow. We really don't see her in the first 4 panels that she's in. We don't get a good shot of her at all. Later on, we'll see drawing by Rick Leonardi. That's the same. They use the same kind of economical art in their storytelling, but it doesn't work as well for me as the Ron Frenz stuff does. So anyway, we see Silver Sable here. First, her face is in shadow. We have a couple of maids. We get the sense that she's sort of important, and then we are establishing that she's a badass, but she's no nonsense. She talks about money pretty much constantly. I guess she's in 5 panels. She's in this first little panel up top here. Then, she walks around. She doesn't walk around. She fights these guys attacking her, sort of an X-Men Danger Room style with these little chais, and she's throwing off some serious Moon Knight vibes, I think. And then one of the maids offers her a towel. She's dressed a little more scantily clad, a little more sexy than she'll show up later when she's a little more elegant, I would say. She's kind of boobalicious in these first pictures. Of course, the maid tries to attack her, looking a lot like a dude with a ponytail, and then she beats up the maid, and she's off with, just brushes it off. So this can be her telltale thing. She's a nonplussed, non-irritatable no nonsense, highly skilled businesswoman. And we cut back to Aunt May. She's looking through some old photos and crying because she isn't talking to Peter, and she's upset that he dropped out of graduate school, and her boyfriend Nathan in a wheelchair sort of just talking her into talking to him again. It's mistakenly attributed in here to 252 Amazing Spider-Man, but it was actually 253. Next, we have Peter tries to call Aunt May and misses out on talking to her, but his costume is ripe because he's been running around, hasn't washed it in a while, I guess, which was also a recurring theme in the early 200s Spider-Man, where he's often having trouble with laundry and his suit getting bleached out and stuff. So he decides to wear for the first time the one that the Black Cat sewed for him in Spectacular Spider-Man 99 that I mistakenly attributed to 100 earlier. So I really like these old half-web black suit and half red and white, blood and blue suit issues back then. They were kind of fun. So we see Spidey now swinging around a black suit. We have exposition. He somehow winds up with the Black Fox again and helps him escape a second time. But before we do, we see the Wild Pack here telling Silver Sable they're about to catch him. I always read Silver Sable's voice in a French accent. To me, I'm not sure why, but I used to not sure why, but now I see they keep calling him Mamselle. Mamselle Sable, the fox is minutes away from capture. I mean, that's kind of how I hear that in my head. Way back then, I think, and now I understand why a little bit. So anyway, same deal. These guys are shooting at him again, and I like this. Again, we have this Ron Friend sort of economic storytelling with the Black Fox sort of head in his arm. You can gets the point across pretty well without too much detail. But Peter saves him again, which is not his brand, right? It's letting bad guys get away is not his deal. Not a violent bad guy, but a bad guy yet. Then they have a talk, and he helps Black Fox get away. Silver Sable shows up, and she's clearly upset that she cost him some money, and she's not. She says, "And cost my company, Silver Sable International, a sizable fee. I am not very pleased with you." That's a real shame, but you could try to sue me, but then you would be inclined to let you claim the reward for the jewels. So he took the jewels from the Black Fox. So the guy didn't make it back to the Riviera with the jewels he was trying to fence. And she gives it to him, and she says, all right, we're even for now, because really all she cares about is making it even on the cash. So she says, what an intriguing man. I must learn more about him. And we will. We will learn more about her in 277, and she will not just be interested in money. She will show that she will do things not for cash, but to have her own sense of right and wrong and justice, although she doesn't spread it evenly, and she becomes a little more intriguing character. And we learn that her first husband was the Foreigner in issue 277 as well. And that's an issue which Spider-Man does not appear. He is out in the Catskills or something. He's sort of lost, stuck in the mountains. He was trapped under a volcano, making his way back to New York. Web of Spider-Man, like 16 through 18, that was his storyline there. So if you want to see that one too, let me know below. I can do a review of more of these issues. If you enjoy this, if it's not your thing, just don't say anything or let me know, and I'll stop doing it. Anyway, I'm going to read them in any case, so it's just whether or not I make a video. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of Amazing Spider-Man 265, and if you're looking forward to 277 as well, let me know. Take care. Bye-bye.